Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the October 28th day of the public hearing for the City of Tampa's Barrio Latino Commission. Welcome, everyone. I'm Rich Simmons, Chair of the Commission. If you're here to present a project, you have limited time to make your presentation, so we suggest being thorough but concise. When coming to the microphone, you will need to identify yourself and your relationship to the project. The commissioners will not ask any questions during your presentation. Your project should be presented in the following order: site plans, elevations, architectural details, wall sections. Staff presents staff report. We'll then ask for public comment. Following your presentation, the commissioners will be asking questions in the same order as your presentation. Please state and spell your name clearly if you are here to speak for or against the project, because your time will be limited to 3 minutes. Following public comment, the applicant will have 5 minutes for rebuttal. The public hearing will then be closed. The only comments which will be allowed after the public hearing is closed will be in response to any questions from the commissioners. The commissioners will then discuss the case and will make their decision based upon the city ordinance, chapter 27 of the city zoning code, the design guidelines, the Secretary of Interior standards, design review comments, and the testimony given today at this public hearing. The BOC can only act on items that are within our specific jurisdictional responsibility. Owner agents are independently responsible to obtain any appropriate permits and/or approvals. If you haven't already done so, please silence your cell phones. We'll start with the introduction of the commissioners, starting on my left.
Good morning, Chase Corley.
Vivian Salaga.
Good morning, I'm Leaving Win.
And today we have Ron Vila, Jared Barnum, and Dana Crosby Collier from Legal. Okay, we have the minutes from the September 23rd, 2025 in our packet. Does everyone have a chance to review? We have a motion?
Yes, motion to approve the minutes from September 23rd, 2025.
Second.
All in favor of said motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Vila.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Vila. I'm a planner with Historic Preservation. Under announcements, we do have the bricks and mortar publication. It is online if you want to follow it. This month we are featuring the 50th anniversary of the local district of Ybor City. We usually at this time provide you with the staff approvals. We are still working on those, so next month you'll review 2 months of the staff approvals. We do have a segment, Preservation in Progress, that I'd like to share with you. This month's Preservation in Progress features Ybor City. It was established 140 years ago. In the mid-19th century, Cuban cigar manufacturers faced with political unrest in Cuba and uncertainty about America's tariff policies, began to establish factories in New York, New Orleans, and particular Key West. The latter became popular because of the proximity to the similarities in climate to Cuba. In 1869, Mr. Ybor had set future course for the cigar industry in the United States as he began importing large quantities of Cuban tobacco into Key West and employing exile workers to make his Havana cigars. And here you see a photo of Mr. Ybor and a portion of the district. Here are just early shots of Ybor City. Here, Ybor recognized the potential in Tampa's excellent port and recently completed railroad lines. This is one of the first cigar factories in Ybor City. Some of the housing stock here, and you see another wooden cigar factory. This is brick and this is wooden here. By the end of the 1886, Ybor City has become a reality, and the area from the present day 6th Avenue to 9th Avenue and in between 12th Street to 14th Street, Ybor and Haya's cigar factories were fully operational, and hundreds of workers and houses were completed and occupied. Here you see a box factory, one of the first box factories by Mr. Lehman, and then a street shot. You see this is the first iteration down 7th Avenue of some of the buildings in Ybor City. What we recognize today, this preceded what was there. Many businesses associated with the cigar industry and its workers were needed to, for the quality of life down there. So these early buildings, they were wood buildings that quickly went up, were important to Ybor City, and the diverse population grew. The first factory that I stated you see here was operated by Henry Lehman. It was a box factory. And then on the left, you see a street shot along 7th Avenue. Here's a little bit more consistent what we recognize today. You have the Italian Club, and then you have a street shot looking down 7th Avenue. From 1919, you see that the trolley line was there in 1919 down 7th Avenue. This is 1930, Ybor City, some shots. You see that through the Depression, it became depressed, the area. It had some challenges. You see how the buildings kind of fell into ruins. And then in 1970, the country passed the Historic Preservation Act, and it became a historic district. If you look here, just the commercial core, this is 7th Avenue, you see the concentration of contributing buildings was part of that original establishment. And then in 1975, the state of Florida established the local Ybor City Historic District, which gave the ability to the Barrio Latino with their guidelines to oversee and provide direction in Ybor City, and that's the same criteria that we have today. So that concludes the portion of preservation in progress, and we could move forward to our agenda items. But before we get to that, I'll ask legal to jump in, please.
Yes, good morning. Dana Crosby, call you from the City Attorney's Office. I'd like to ask if anyone has a conflict of interest with any item on the agenda this morning.
None.
Thank you. And has any member engaged in an ex parte communication regarding any item on the agenda this morning? Thank you.
So under continuations, we have none reflected, but I want to bring to your attention that there was one case, BLC-24-00000172, that has withdrawn their application. So if they wish to go forward, they have to reapply, and it'll be in front of this board. So at this time, everybody that wishes to testify, please stand up and raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony being provided today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Our agenda item for this morning is BLC-25-00000236. This is for the address of 1502 East 7th Avenue, and it runs to 1512 East 7th Avenue. When we do our research, there was a contributing structure there, and I'm going to share a photo with you. It dates back to 1900. In the 40s, this building received some changes, and the building that's currently there is a deco building. It is a contributing building as well. The zoning is YC1. The request in front of you this morning is for a certificate of appropriateness for new construction, for exterior stairs, rehabilitation to the facade that's there with some site improvements. Let me share my photo presentation with you. As I stated, this is from 1919, the Sanborn map. If you look here, the images that are provided here and the shading gives us a lot of information. Property in question is on the corner of 7th Avenue and 15th Street. There was an alley behind it, it's currently vacated, and you see it is shaded in red, which indicates brick construction. It does have a balcony that ran across the front. That is in yellow, so that was frame construction. So in 1929, that's what the Sanborn is reflecting. Here's our vicinity map showing the concentration of the commercial core, which is highlighted in the blue. Obviously, the boundaries on the outside are the local district of Ybor City. We're going to focus on the corner of 7th Avenue and 15th Street. This is just an area shot. You see the concentration of commercial buildings along 7th Avenue and 15th Street. Currently, looking back at the corner of the building in question, you see the upper level has some casement windows, some with divisions. You see the horizontal canopy, the introduction of the lighting, and then below you have the storefront. Continuing down the 7th Avenue facade, it was in shadow, it was hard to get, but the storefront is recessed. There's a different operations on the storefront, and then upstairs is currently vacant. This is just focusing on one of the storefronts. You have your lower bulkhead, you have your display area, and then you have that horizontal break before you get to the second floor. You see the transition from the sidewalk to the entrance into the establishments. Some of the signage that's here, this is period appropriate signage that through this exercise can remain and should remain. This is looking down 7th Avenue to the east. It's on the north side of 7th Avenue. It abuts the building in question. Moving back to 1502 7th Avenue. The corner, the storefront just terminates here. Then you have some entrances, you have some doors in the back. You see this horizontal band that kind of continues. And then you have this verticality of the Deco building. Looking down 7th Avenue, this is to the west. The introduction of the brick streets, and we're continuing that program. We were at a meeting the other day, and we're going to take on 2 more streets. So as we go to the east, and looking down 7th Avenue to the east, directly across the street, we have the Ritz, very iconic building in its own right. This is back of house. As you go around the building down 15th to the north. This is the vacated alley that I spoke about. You see some of the fencing that they have here now. I also wanted to share some history with you. We found this clipping that I think is important as you review this. When we look at the buildings along 7th Avenue, usually the traditional materials are the brick and the wood storefronts. This takes on a different vocabulary here, so as you move forward with the stucco and the metal glazing, but I just want to read it into the record. An exterior remodeling of the Fernandez and Garcia department store at 1502 East 7th Avenue cost $45,000 in an initial phase. Features of the new work will be recessed ground floors to show the windows on 7th Avenue side. The windows will sit back approximately 6 foot from the present sidewalk and provide walking space between the sidewalk and the new storefront. The ground floor's exterior will be a buff structural glass trimmed with green glass, while the upper portion of the building will be green stucco with steel sash windows across the front and sides of the building. And then you see the architect there. That was part of this restoration. This was the building before it received the cladding in the 40s.
Holy cow.
And this is what it looks like today. So I have these images and any information that you have as the public hearing goes on. At this time, the agent will address the board.
Okay, hello, my name is Andrew Matson. I'm with AIC Architecture. We are going to be, or I'm going to be the architect of record for the renovation of the project. And I'm at 1907 East 7th Avenue. So as Ron had talked about, you know, the renovation that we are doing, we're restoring the 1948 renovation of the building. You know, it's too much to remove all that stucco. So our goal is to restore the building as it currently sits. So the replacements and the new additions that we're doing are basically to try to keep that main envelope as it is, so as I progress. Where is the mouse? Sorry. Okay, and as Ron pointed out, our site is, this is 7th Avenue right across here. This is our site, and Centro Ybor is just right down to the east of it. Our building, and this is, as Ron had said, there was an alley. The alley has since been vacated, and there's only a little portion of the alley that remains in the back of the building. And then 7th Avenue and 15th Street. This is how it currently sits along 7th Avenue. And I'd like to point out there's lights on top of the awning, the current lights. We are going to replace those lights too with new working lights, new LED lights. This awning, we are going to keep the awning, but we're going to reclad it or take it down, refinish it, and then reinstall it back up as it is. So the stainless steel finish that's there is going to be replaced with the stainless steel finish that's currently there. The windows are going to be taken off, and we're going to restore the windows with new aluminum impact windows to meet the new energy code, the hurricane, and just also these windows, some of them are plastic, some of them are, they're not really in good shape. On the ground floor, we're keeping them, we're basically going to replace the windows like for like, exactly where they are. With the addition, we do have to add an ADA elevator to get access to the second floor. So that is one of our additions, because it's going to come out into the space right here, right in the, kind of below the, this center feature area. So this area right here will be where the new elevator sits and the new elevator access to the building is. I'd also like to point out there's these porthole frames, and there's one right here, one at this window, and there's a half, well, not even half. It just kind of comes up and dies. Well, part of our renovation is we're going to restore that back to the way it was, and we're going to cant it all the way across, and I'll show you that in my presentation. And also note that there's these 3 fluted columns, and so this is the corner of 7th and 15th. This is the back side along 15th. There's also 2 old windows that were actually like this department display windows. They've been painted over and covered up. We're going to take those down, replace them with new glass windows for displays for the event spaces or, you know, the ground floor retail spaces. The facade, so the current storefront windows are like an aluminum, anodized aluminum storefront system. The color that we're putting back is going to be the anodized aluminum storefront system. The glass, some of the glass has tint, some of it has mirrored finish, some of it has this. We're going to take all, and we're going to go back with clear glass for it. But the mullion spacing and the general shape of the windows are going to be the same, with the addition that is obviously going to be impact, so it can't be the 2-inch frames, it has to be the 2.5-inch frames. So this is, you could see this piece too, the existing like trim, or it was like a portal frame, and on the other side you could see it comes up, wraps over, and that structural glass, buff structural glass, is above that trim. When you get to this side, the buff, it just didn't have that portal piece, the top trim, and the columns went all the way up to the top but died over here, and then you can see the buff structural glass. So part of our renovation is to actually finish that portal frame. We'll maintain the glass, and actually not maintain it. We're going to have to take it down and re-clean it up, or put new, install new, because this is a very specific product that does not exist anymore, and it's not in very good shape. And again, you can see the storefront. The rhythm is going to stay the same. And note that the existing alcoves have just a regular concrete finish. We're actually going to replace the concrete with a new stamped concrete, and I'll show you that in my presentation. This is one of the retail spaces. The tenants are on the ground floor are all going to stay, so we're going to put back the retail to-go windows for the pizza parlor. But again, it'll be the same kind of aesthetic. Some of the damages to the facility, you can see the stucco, cracking, wood damage, the buff structural glass is falling off. This fluted is actually like a fiberglass with foam. We're going to replace it. The stairs, exterior egress stairs, are in pretty dire shape. I wouldn't use them if it was my life dependent on it. Definitely not egress. And then, so these last two views are of the alley. We're going to clean up as much as we can. Obviously, this alley is just shared. There's there's an easement agreement with the building to the north. So we're going to clean up as much as we can as on our side. and then try to do the best we can. There is, part of it too, is there is water, when it rains, the water actually flows the wrong direction and it starts ponding up in the back, so we have a civil engineer helping us regrade the site so that the water does not go towards our building. So here's our survey. This is the alley, which is vacated, and you can see that the property line is half is ours, half is the adjacent property owner, and there is an easement agreement with the owner. There's the alcoves right here, and this is the entry piece. This is where the elevator will be installed. There's also a egress stair that's currently right here off property, and that's another one the owner has an agreement with the owners, and we'll submit that. When they get the agreements, we'll submit that into records that we could restore it because it's on adjacent property. However, it is being used as an emergency egress. Our renovations show these are the rear exit stairs along 7th Avenue. We are taking the storefront down. We are going to take out the concrete. This is where the elevator is going in that little spot, and we chose that as a very specific reason for it to go here. The columns, the structural columns remain, but the cladding will come off. Second floor, all the windows are being taken off and replaced. The elevator will come up. And when we go back, this is where the elevator is, right in the centerpiece. So, and then the storefront, to maintain that same glass front facade, we are just going to use spandrel glass in front of the elevator. So the elevator will have spandrel glass looking at it. We're going to do we talked about a lot of different colors for the spandrel glass, and we decided upon a dark gray spandrel, because that way it just looks like that big section of windows just was the lights were off, and not try to call attention to it. The entrance, so when you come upstairs, you'll have, the tenants are all existing, so we are going to eat into their space, but you would come up here, you would go to the elevator, or you go up to the stairs and go up to your space on the second floor. The elevator comes up. There's this, again, the reason why we chose the elevator location is very tricky. There is multiple levels of the building, so this portion right here is at one level. And then the original, you could kind of see the original building with the old light wells right here that's since been covered up. But they're at multiple different levels. And so the elevator being right here was just the perfect position for it. So we could go up to the highest level, and then you could get a ramp down to the lower space. But it's about 2 foot difference. Our existing south elevation, you can see we're just going to replace the storefront windows and the awning cladding, not the awning itself. And that's the west elevation, 15th Street. The rear elevation, the north elevation, the stairs, the windows. We're replacing all the fenestrations with new because they are not in good shape. This is the building to the east of us, and this is that emergency egress stair we're going to replace. And we're going to come back. This is the colors we have, and I have a whole color palette, a couple nuance changes on it. We are keeping the gradation in the fluted aspect, so the centerpiece of the Art Deco is actually like a curved flute. Those will have the gradations. The ones that are stepped will just get a single color. We're also going to light up the vertical elements at night so that you could see the difference in the steps. The same thing with the west elevation, 17th or 15th Street. The rear stairs, just replacement. Our wall sections. So on this, again, we're not really altering the facade itself. We are just removing the cladding and replacing the cladding. So the structural glass piece is right here. The awning has to stay. The structure has to stay. The cladding will come off, get fixed, repaired, and restored. The stucco will be renovated, restored, and this is our proposed colors. So the banding is the same. So the accent colors where we had the accent colors are all going to stay the same, just newer, fresher colors, but the same kind of green hues. So the flute gets the gradation. The sides get the second color. The inset is in a separate accent. The band is the same color as the verticals. And again, we're replacing all the storefront on the ground floor. A light shot, so you can see the vertical elements, LED. And then there's two different style lights. So there's spotlights for the the vertical flutes, and then there's just a wall washer. That's and then note the sign that Ron was talking about and all the existing signs. We're just gonna take the casings off and restore them. And then this part too, so that's the banding right here. So this is the portal frames. And then you can see what we did was a nuance change is we put the banding all the way across. And the original design, the flute went all the way up to the awning. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna have the awning, the flutes are going to stop at the trim line. The structural glass will come across, and then the stainless steel band will go across in replacement of the lights too. And again, there's the vertical, this is it lit up at night. And part of it too is the owner thinks the alcoves at night are dark and dingy. And when we are going to, actually I should go back, we are going to install a security gate access right here because that is being used as a homeless bathroom. So. It's going to be, we're going to have to tie it, it's going to be tricky because it's going to have to tie it to a fire alarm. We're going to negotiate with the fire marshal how to do it. But it's an emergency egress there. However, at night, there's a bunch of alcoves in it and people are using it, and I'll show you that too. So this is the ground floor. You can see what we're going to do is this is the EBOR paver here. There's a band, and then we're going to do a stamped concrete pattern that's a cubic pattern that is actually a play off of the EBOR pavers. This flute will be replaced with a tile flute. I have a sample with me, granite base, and then we're going to redo the soffits at the top, and then here this will be the banded glass. That will still be the structural glass. It'll just have the fluted or the portal frame around it. And here this is the, oops. So the elevator, this is the change that we're going to make to the elevator, the access. This is the little security gate. There's like a little alcove in the back. Unfortunately, just the way it lays out, it's not very good. People are hiding and using it. But the storefront stays all the same. Basically the same rhythm, the same pattern. So we have the top transom goes vertically across. All the doors will be consistent. It'll be clear glass. This is the pizza transaction countertop. And then this is the EBOR City paver, and then this is the stamped concrete that we're kind of playing off of it, right? And then when we went and looked around the different alcoves, the different uses, this is the King Corona one. They just did a white terrazzo with the band, so we have this concrete band too. So, and then the pavers. Adjacent to that was one with a quarry tile. That's not very nice. This one was more of a, this is like 2 doors down. There's another terrazzo with a kind of another cubic pattern. And so I feel like our, stamped concrete is within line of what we're asking for. The elevator shaft, so you can see there's 2 levels. So the elevator goes up to the upper level. Actually, I can't remember if it's the lower level and then ramps up. No, it goes all the way up to the 2nd floor and then ramps back down to the lower level. And then the structural glass. Again, the portal frames. And these are details of that glass that we are going to maintain or not maintain, replace, repair, restore on it. This is one of the gates. So the gate that's in the back of the alley, it doesn't actually really work. We want to replace with another gate, but actually 2 gates to make it easier because part of it is that one big gate is not working for us. The paint colors. These are the paint colors. So the field color is the natural tan. The accent is the portico. Soji white will be all the new trims. And then these bottom colors are the gradient flutes on the flutes. Our material palette, clear anodized storefront for the storefronts. This is the spandrel glass, dark color, what we want, because we want it to look like the lights are just off where the elevator shaft is. And then clear glass for all the rest. And then this is that, the banding, that buff kind of color. It was called Virtualite. There's another manufacturer. We don't know what it is, but it's not obviously in stock. So we're going to have to find ways. It probably just end up being like a back painted glass to match or to like restore it. Because some of them, they're missing huge sections of it, and it needs a lot of work. And that's the end of my presentation.
Good morning, Commissioner Ron Vila. I'm staff with Historic Preservation. Staff's finding this application is consistent with the Ybor City Design Guidelines. On page 3 of your staff report, we have the Secretary of Interior Standards, and I just wanted to call out that this is a unique project because from the 1900 building to the 1940 building, there's been a big disconnect there. But through the standards, most properties change over time. These changes that have acquired historic significance in their own right shall be retained and preserved. So he doesn't have to go back to the 1900 building. This building can move forward per the standards. These distinct features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize historic properties shall be preserved. So as part of this presentation, I think they're moving forward in that vein. This was a complete presentation. I wanted to share with you this early photo of the renovation. Thank you. I think additional discussion is needed for the upper floor windows. Here you see their casement windows. You see some are open, some are closed, and you see the divisions in the windows themselves. So this was part of the original transformation of the building, and that operation should be reflected and respected as well. He did provide additional samples for the transition from the hex pavers into the building. That's up for discussion. He did show some examples of, what's out there today. And then lastly, the stucco pattern is something that we usually meet on site. Staff meets the contractor on site with the owners. They usually provide us 3 or 4 different samples on site, and then we select one that's more period appropriate. That concludes my portion. I'll be here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Vila. Is anyone here from the public wishing to comment on this case? Please come to the mic. Okay, seeing none. We'll start with some questions of the applicant. Chase, can you give us one?
Hey, nice presentation. I just had a quick question. I know you talked about you're going to work with like a civil engineer to regrade the site in the back for flooding and rainwater that pools. Sorry if I missed this, but in the front of the building, was there any?
No, so the front actually drains really well and it's done nicely. I mean, when we get to that construction document phase, the civil engineer, he's also the one who did the survey. He's also the one who's worked with me many times in Ybor, so he'll do the package to make sure that the grade points and the ADA access across the 7th Avenue is maintained. So, yeah.
Could you put up the elevation of the 15th Street side of the building? And my question is concerning the photograph that was just up on it appears to have a different window configuration than what shows in your drawing.
You mean the second floor windows or the ground floor?
The ground floor,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So I have, let me see if I have a photo of this. There's a truck blocking mine when I was out there, but, no. Yeah, so there's this window right here.
So those have changed from the 1948.
Oh, yes, okay, so I know exactly what you're talking about now, and that's what I believe, is it?
The first one.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's these windows right here, these 2 windows, right?
Right,
Okay,
right.
so that window now is where the 2 display windows are. So when you go into mine elevation, oops, did I go too far? Okay, so that's where these 2 windows are. So I believe that's somewhere around there. Those are existing. They are alcoves in it. If you go into the back, there are it's an access panel in the back. We are going to replace those 2, painted over with a new type of display. So they'll have a key, and they could put in different events, or so the bar, the restaurants, or whatever can have event space and be locked in there, because if anybody knows Ybor, you post any sign, it goes away in 2 seconds if it's not secured behind glass.
And the second window is
These 2?
is gone? The
Yeah.
ones
Yeah.
if you go to the north of
Yep.
that?
Yeah, so this right here, so that is, I think if you look back, I'm gonna jump back and forth. This window right here is now that egress stair, the emergency egress out of the space. I think is what, when they did, oops, sorry, I'm pointing to the wrong thing. This thing right here. Is I think they filled that in, and that's where the, so these you could see in this, on the floor plan when we had it, when we had a professional measuring company. So that, I think, is where the windows were. There was a window here, a window here. And then there probably was at point, you could see the old building comes across and comes back right about here, right? And that's the original building. So there was a window, they're now bathrooms, essentially, where those are. And then an emergency egress for that portion of the restaurant or bar.
Okay, thank you.
And I do realize I forgot to show the fluted tile just because I have a picture, but this is the tile, not the color, the flute pattern, and we are actually going to have it, it does come in a monolithic green. So that's the color, but that's the fluted pattern. But I don't have that sample, but the manufacturer, will be able to manufacture it for us. And that's those columns. And instead, because the current columns are definitely a plastic, and you can tell people poke holes in it, and so that, and that plays off the green color too. So we're trying to bring in all the historic greens from the building.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the end of my questions.
Thank you. Sorry if I missed it, and I know you just mentioned the historic greens as well. Could you just talk about the color palette a little bit in more detail? And are you just restoring the existing colors?
Yeah, so
Because
the colors
everything's just
are
faded right now?
Yeah, the colors are green, and they are they are gradients. I'll explain every little difference to it. So one, you could see there's on the bottom. So these aren't flutes; these are just step back pattern, right? So that's the. Let me see if I have a better. Okay, so these are flat pieces of stucco, and they step back. The center one is a curved flute, and then it goes back to the step. When we paint it back again, we are going to maintain, so the colors, like this color is just going to get, the field color will be a field color. The inset right here, we're going to accentuate it with a darker shade of the field color. The band, the trim around it will get a green. The flutes on the sides, and I shouldn't call them flutes, the steps, are going to be monolithic color, but they will get a LED vertical accent light to create that, the steps. And then the gradation will occur in the center piece. So if you go into my rendering, yeah, like that. So you can see the different colors, right? So this is the field color, just a fresher field color. It's a little more, it's not as white as it was, but that's just because white doesn't withstand an e-board. There's a inset band. The green will be trimmed out. It's already trimmed out right now. It's just a newer color green. We'll have the three different gradation on the flutes, and then the two sides will just be a solid color on it. And then the Soji white that was in there, that's these accent trims will be a white color across the.
Okay, gotcha. So you're just playing off those faded greens.
Yeah,
instead
playing
of
off with the-
restoring the original colors of the
Yes,
building.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So we obviously don't know the exact colors, but these are kind of like modern takes of what the colors are. And we went through a lot of different greens to get to this point.
For the new lights that are going underneath the canopy, is there any sort of datum or anything that you're following for the installation of those, or just like head clearance? And just
Oh, you mean the ones inside the canopy pointing down?
No, the ones that are, I guess you're wall mounting them, because
Oh.
those are new, right?
Yeah, so they're existing actually,
Are they
but no, but we are replacing them with LED. They're
You're
not
replacing-
working.
okay,
Yeah, so the
gotcha.
ones across the top are existing. So what we have is one for every flute. So these, the verticals get a specific light that is an uplight, and one for each of the vertical elements is how those will work. So there's 1, 2, and then they kind of like go vertically, right? And then across the bottom is just more to wash the wall on it. And so there's a company that's helping us with it. And our goal is to really not see the lights at all, because they're small. Like the ones you could currently see, they're huge. And so we're trying not to see it, but.
And then the one below the canopy itself is new sconces. Those are new, right?
Yeah, yeah, these are new. I think there's some existing ones, but they're not. It's just too dark in the alley or in the alcoves. So, yeah, there's not, yeah, so we're adding sconces in there, because the lights, there are just too many dark spots, so we're just adding sconces on the columns.
And will those fans remain?
Yes, but not those.
Okay, yeah, they're getting replaced.
Not those.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, the
Understood.
lights, so we are adding extra lights in the soffit, so we're ripping them out, we're gonna replace the lights, we're gonna create a better rhythm and a pattern, but it's Florida and it's hot, so,
Right.
we're gonna maintain fans, but we'll have a better selection with fans, and we'll definitely work with staff on a fan that is appropriate.
Okay.
I think that's actually an indoor fan, that's not meant for the outside.
Sure, that makes sense. And then do you have a rendering where the new spandrel glass would go in for the
Oh, yeah,
elevator?
so the spandrel glass, okay, that is in the rendering. Okay, so it is just below the flutes. Oh, I'll do the rendering. It's these three pieces. So that will be isolated, it'll be the black spandrel, or dark gray. I don't want black, because black actually will stand out a little bit more. There's a dark gray. The goal is to make it, we had a different color, and when I talked to the owner, he was like, no, I just want it to look like it's off, like somebody just left the lights off.
And it's actually a good rendering for a question on the upper windows as well. So as Ron pointed out with the historic photograph, there were, operable casements. They look like they had muntins in them. These look like they're just...
Yes, they are just picture windows now. The owner is very anti the muntins on it. He was like, the windows aren't there. If you look across the street at the Ritz, they just have big square windows. They're double hung or single hung windows, but his goal is just to make it clean as possible. He thinks the modern look is better with the picture window. That's his take on it.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Oh, and then just finally I don't think any of the new exterior stairs are on any like significant...
Oh, you won't see them.
facade.
Yeah, you
right,
won't see them.
Right, so...
So the owner thinks we could rehabilitate it. I don't think it could be rehabilitated, so I asked for it to be demoed completely, because I feel like if we could rehabilitate the stair, we'll rehabilitate the stair. I think there's some flaws with with it, so I'm asking to replace it altogether. Once we get into the construction documents, we'll look at it. We do have a complete structural engineer, because there are some really bad parts of the building inside, and so we have a whole structural analysis of how to repair the floors, the windows. There's portions of brick that are just they're missing. They're not part of this, but we are actually restoring the structure of the building as part of the project.
But I would assume there would just be some sort of like black metal egress staircase.
Yeah. The back will just be a emergency egress. It's going to be probably a steel pan concrete with vertical pickets for ADA.
Okay, great, thank you.
And they're definitely not visible from the street.
So the front, the uplights on the front, you're gonna replace those, new LEDs?
Yeah.
One of my sore spots is always being able to see those.
Yeah,
lights
that's
there. So.
and that's
you're gonna
actually
get
the
them
owner's.
Smaller or tuck them away?
Yeah, so right now, the only reason why you could actually, these are modeled in it correctly from the manufacturer that we are using. The only reason why you could see it is because of the elevation shot that I'm taking from this, which I don't believe you will be able to see from the street level. They are much smaller. I think they're only like 12 inches with the stand, and they're on a pivot. So they are very small, and I agree with you, I don't want to see them. So we're going to try to tuck it as far back as possible, and I guess that's one of those things when we get into the mounting where we could see it, so we won't be.
And how deep is that canopy at that location? It seems like sometimes it's really deep and.
Yeah,
it's not.
and so at the front facade, you're only talking, it is probably, I have a measurement, I can't remember. It's probably like 3 feet to 40, between 3 and 4 feet. 3 feet probably. And you can see the lights are right here. They are definitely, right now I have just mounted vertically because of the Revit model, but they will be tilted and washing the walls.
And when you talk about the structural glass that's there, is that a vertical face?
Yeah, it's
and
actually
a
vertical and
horizontal
bottom.
face?
It's vertical and bottom. It's on that soffit.
Okay.
So it's missing from all the bottom pieces. So if you go into, so it's mostly vertical, right, on this spot. So you can see that, and we're going to maintain that exact kind of look on it. And it's on, where's the, sorry. Yeah, a lot of photos, sorry. Okay, right there, that's where it was on the vertical. On the, not on the horizontal, yes.
But that failed. It's
It
missing.
failed, yes, it clearly failed. So we're gonna restore it. I think for the most part, you know, you don't have much of that spot left because we're gonna replace it with a portal frame, right? And the portal frame is probably a better structural, and it actually balances out, because right now, I don't understand why one went up and just stopped. I mean, it's Ebor, so that's probably why.
Okay, in your signage,
Yeah.
you're just maintaining existing?
Yeah,
not
so the
doing it-
round sign, we love that, the shape of that sign, and so does, I think Historic Preservation loves it. We're gonna maintain it, we're just gonna reclad it with the new signage, whoever gets in the anchor tenant. And then the little blade signs, we have to maintain.
Okay, my question is it gonna be lit or not lit?
I don't believe those are actually lit right now. If they, are they lit? Oh, they are lit, okay, sorry, I apologize, they are lit.
So you go back?
Yeah, we'll go back to the same, yeah.
Okay. And talk about the awning a little bit more. I understand that you're gonna remove the cladding, repair,
Yeah.
replace as needed. What's the structure underneath that? Is that steel or is it wood?
We don't know yet, so that's part of what okay, so when we talk to the city, it is in the right of way. So it goes over, and there is a right of way, an easement agreement with the city. So they said, when we talk to them, if you replace we're allowed to reclad it. If we take it off, we're allowed to put it back on, but we have to put it back on as a removable element for maintenance. I don't know what it is. We probed into some of the columns. I think it's a mix of wood and steel. There is a lot of steel in the building. We can't get into it yet. So when we clad it, we'll have to look at it. But we do have an engineer we hired an engineer for these specific purposes. So when we take things down, he's gonna come out and help us make sure that everything is good. Because even on the inside of the space, there's a lot of wood trusses that probably need cisterine and repairs. And he's contracted to be like, when can we repair it? When do we have to replace it?
And let's talk about your gates
Yeah.
that you're proposing here. You have two of them.
Yeah, so the back alley, and this is one, again, we still have to work with we are working with the adjacent property owner. This is the actual current gate, and it's just one big giant gate. And what we want to do is take it apart, or take it off, and replace it with a pair of gates.
That's a
Just-
chain link
Yeah,
fence.
chain link with the privacy.
Chain link.
Yeah, chain link with the privacy.
Okay. And what's your gate on the front of the building?
Oh, that will be like a wrought iron security gate. So it'll be more kind of like what's down the street with the Oyster Bar, I think, has the vertical aluminum. It will look like it's an aluminum security gate.
Black
Black, yeah.
aluminum.
Actually, the color might have to work because we don't have much black, because we started with black storefront, but then we were like, wait, we have stainless steel, we have stainless, the aluminum cladding, so it might actually be a white, just to make it kind of go away. I haven't got to that point, but we do have, what the gate will be is, it will be the complete infill right here. So, because we're definitely worried that we had it at a lower spot, and the owner believes that somebody could still climb up over it, and it'll be actually a secret, private, secure hiding
Well, I
spot.
think it's gonna be full height there.
Yeah.
My concern is what the color is
Aesthetic.
and material.
Yeah, I
and
think-
what that door panel actually looks like.
I mean, black might not be a problem, to be honest, because it would just go with everything else that's Ebor. I just don't have any black framing yet, so I might render it a couple different ways.
Okay. And I have concerns over using a chain link fence there over that alley. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're gonna introduce a black aluminum or some kind of,
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be a dark gray aluminum type of structure up here that's painted. I think that should relate to being in the alley. as
Yeah,
well.
and I know the reason why we're doing that is just because it's the back of house, the alley. We have to have the privacy because it's not aesthetically pleasing. And again, there's people we've found it many times open. Somebody's disabled the gate or the locks, and they're getting back in there and using it. So that the privacy is just to make sure that people don't see into it and such, so. And then
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So are you gonna change that to something like an aluminum gate type of thing? Or
I'll have to, I know that was a sore spot with the owner. He didn't want to spend the money on it, but I will consult with him. I don't know if that's something that I'll have to deal with,
I don't think
staff.
chain link's appropriate
Okay.
for that. I know it's there
That's fine.
right now, but.
Okay.
And then let's talk a little bit more about your second floor windows and you've gone very far with replicating everything that's there. You know, to make those single windows, it kind of loses the casement framing, and I can understand the points that there's limited material left there. So, you know, I don't expect them to be opening, but I'm kind of going back and forth on which one's a better aesthetic.
Yeah.
You know, just having a single panel or, you know, a mold in the middle.
And so that was the thing, is when I talked to him, is like, if we, you know, we toyed with putting the vertical back so it looked like the casement. But then it just looks, now the proportions don't look right. And so the square windows, to me, fit within that opening of the round window. So it just kind of, I think it works well with the aesthetic of the building, the current building, right? The casement was probably, and partly, you know, it was Perry Paint and Glass did it. They're actually very happy about, we have articles about them actually being the installers of it. And I'm sure if they had a picture window, they could have done it that way, but it just happened to be.
Can we look at both of them?
Yeah.
Compare?
Absolutely. Wait, do I have, yes, I do. There. There, that's actually probably better. So I talked about putting the
Changing the
vertical into it. You know, the problem is then it takes in a lot of, it just makes it look vertically, and I think the square window just makes it, you know, the picture.
Like these appear rectangular,
Yeah.
and then like your renderings appear
Yeah, they're,
square-like.
Square.
yeah, they appear square. That is actually a Revit model, so it is, we measured every one of the windows, and so it just happens to be, yeah, it was throwing me off too, but, I mean, I could go back and remeasure it, but we measured it like a lot to make sure that, I think it's just the view angle on my rendering. But that's exactly,
So they're more like rectangular.
yeah, they're more like this. I just think that's the way it looks on the rendering to the, we aren't changing any of that because that's actually inside. When you go inside, you'll see the brick windows and.
So you're working with existing conditions,
Yeah.
so that it's probably
Yeah.
more rectangular and.
Yeah, and then that's the thing, you put the vertical, now it just becomes this quirky vertical element. If you take the verticals out, it just becomes a big picture window, and it kind of, that circle becomes more pronounced, in my opinion. Especially when we start accenting the center. You know, right now, this isn't really an accent, so I think you get that, you'll really get the Art Deco curve piece trim with the square windows.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, we've had, asked you a number of questions. If you want to summarize any of your comments or your presentation, or we're to go ahead.
No,
and
I'm actually,
close the
I'm
public
happy.
hearing.
I just appreciate your time and consideration for the project.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and have discussion on the project amongst ourselves.
Overall, I think it's a great project. I think they were, you know, working with the palette they had and you know, the existing conditions, all that kind of stuff. It was a smart way to put the new elevator, how do you treat it, and with spandrel glass. I think they can maybe work with staff about the second-story windows and then maybe the gate to the alley.
Okay. No, I have no comments. I think it's a well done and well presented, and consideration for that existing building. You would never have known that this building was the other one. I mean, it's just funny how that so totally changed. And there are very few samples of Art Deco in the community at large even. So it's nice to be able to retain this.
Yeah, just to echo that, I think in terms of like the rehabilitation and site improvements for this project, it's improving the structure in many ways while maintaining that period appropriateness. Specific to the presentation, I thought those 3D renderings, like especially the night perspective shots, I thought that was a really cool visual and representation of what it could look like. So I enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a very complete presentation. You know, I think it's one of those buildings. It's, I think, the only deco style here in the district, and it's always kind of an oddball to me that it sticks out. But it's, you know, that's
it is.
part of the charm of it. So, yeah, it's a great building. I'm glad to see it's getting a much needed facelift, you know, and I'm glad to hear the tenants are gonna stay there too, because they're great places. But it needs some repair, and I think this is a very sensitive repair, to be done to this building. I do have some concerns. I mean, it looks like the owner's spending a lot of money here, and I think the two gates need to be done appropriately. That is still 7th Avenue and a half a block off of 7th Avenue, so it's appropriate, and I think you're doing very sensitive things everywhere else, and I think you should just make that happen. Still kind of up in the air on the casement windows for the second floor. I do think it's much simplified when we get to the deco style to keep them more like punched openings. I think having them rectangular helps that language a little bit more than the squares. Yeah, I think it's okay if they do single panes up there. I don't think it's that important of a historical element, but we can have that discussion if we want. But I think the big thing is that opening doesn't change, and it's more rectangle than a square. If they're square, that's a little bit more problematic up there. But very nice presentation, very thorough, and I welcome the upgrade of the building in the district.
Okay.
Have a rules and conditions.
Yep, so move to grant a certificate of appropriateness for the drawings and documents presented at this public hearing in BLC 25-000-0236 for the property located at 1502 East 7th Avenue with the following conditions: that the applicant look to use an aluminum material for both gates on the project, and that the applicant work with staff for all final finishes on the project as well. Any other conditions that we here for? Because based upon the finding of fact, the proposed project is consistent with the Ybor City design guidelines of the City of Tampa for the following reasons: that it also meets the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, and the Secretary, and that it meets and that the property shall be used for its historic purpose and requires minimal change to the defining characteristics of the building and its site and environment.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of said motion? There's a few conditions, before we take a final vote, there's a few conditions placed on this approval. Can the applicant acknowledge that they're okay with these conditions?
Yes, we are okay.
Okay, we acknowledge yes. All in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion there are no other cases on file, do we have a motion to receive and file? Just the bricks and mortar and anything, it covers everything that we talked about here today.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And just a quick announcement, Ron, you touched on this before with your presentation. Ybor City is celebrating the 140th year celebration, so be on the lookout for special events and things happening over the next 6 months. I know there's been a logo designed, and there'll be a number of things, special events and celebrations. So just be on the radar for that as we all celebrate the history of Ybor City. Seeing no more business in front of us, we stand adjourned. Thank you.